Hey everyone, welcome to this explainer. Have you ever noticed how your smartphone can update its entire operating system overnight, but updating a single tiny government policy seems to take a decade? Well, today, we're looking at an architectural blueprint that fundamentally reimagines how a modern nation-state operates from the ground up. We are exploring the Fiducia Central Operating System. And look, this isn't just some basic software update. It's an incredibly ambitious concept for a multi-purpose sovereign ecosystem that's designed to manage literally $100 trillion in state reserves, governance, and digital infrastructure.
So think about the sheer friction in government today, right? You've got fragmented databases, completely disconnected ledgers, and policy enforcement that moves at a snail's pace. Now, I want you to imagine unifying monetary sovereignty, fiscal administration, and artificial intelligence into one single digital environment. That is the exact problem Fiducia Centrale is attempting to solve, and it really sets the stakes for our architectural tour of modern sovereign governance today.
Here's a quick look at our roadmap. We'll start with the sovereign digital ecosystem, move into the executive control plane, explore the 5 operational spokes, dive deep into the stratigraphic authority ledger, and wrap up with balancing privacy and transparency. All right, let's jump right into part 1, the sovereign digital ecosystem. Now, this concept isn't just about replacing legacy software. It is entirely about creating a single operational stack for executive decision-making. What that means is that policy, capital, compute resources, official records, and identity workflows can all be viewed, governed, audited, and preserved without ever leaving a coordinated, sovereign digital environment. We're talking total fiscal continuity with zero data leaks.
To actually pull something of this magnitude off, the whole system rests on 4 massive pillars. First, you have autonomous treasury operations, which handles real-time automated debt servicing and multi-currency settlements. Then, there's algorithmic reserve management. This dynamically rebalances state portfolios, think physical gold alongside digital assets, to actively defend currency stability. We pair that with a predictive AI simulation engine to stress test national fiscal policy against unexpected geopolitical shocks. And finally, it's all wrapped in an institutional compliance ledger to automatically enforce international regulations.
Moving right along to the second part of our tour, the executive control plane. Essentially the hub of the operation.
The absolute key takeaway here is that we are not talking about a massive monolithic app. It's an orchestration control plane. Imagine an executive command center that gives you a real-time pulse on a nation's system health, its global reserve metrics, and its active assets, all running from a single source of truth with unified role-based access. It's pretty wild to think about. You can really see how this works through their brilliant hub-and-spoke architecture. This central FC operating system dashboard sits right smack in the middle, and it effortlessly ingests summarized telemetry and data from a variety of specialized subsystems. Those are the spokes, without ever forcing them into a single, clunky database schema. It's incredibly elegant. So, what exactly are those spokes? That brings us to Section 3, the 5 operational spokes.
We have 5 of these functional wings, and each one operates completely independently, with its own specialized tech stack while perfectly syncing back to that main hub. The Sovereign OS handles legal entities and compliance. The AI Studio tracks compute tokens and security. The Reserve Engine manages transnational currency and settlements. The Stewardship app monitors environmental and cultural assets. And finally, the Archivist Engine officially seals historical records into immutable memory.
Okay, let's ground this in reality. What does this actually look like in practice? Well, these interconnected spokes power some incredible real-world applications. Say you're facing a systemic banking crisis. The system can authorize an emergency sovereign liquidity decree to instantly backstop domestic banks. It can automatically distribute health insurance or public assistance via a citizen's dividend protocol. It even dynamically manages physical border security through an Arrowgate biometric portal and deploys capital into education and health based on algorithmic human development index scoring. It literally takes the sluggish bureaucracy entirely out of crisis response.
All right, time to peek under the hood in Section 4, the stratigraphic authority ledger.
At the absolute core of all this is the provenance ledger. This is a zero-trust, serverless database engine. And the mathematical reality here is absolute because it uses continuous SHA-256 cryptographic chaining. Think of it like a giant digital domino effect. If even one single character in a historical block is altered, the resulting cryptographic hash changes entirely, and the entire subsequent chain violently shatters. It guarantees perfect mathematical immutability for every single state action. No erasing history here.
This baked-in immutability builds a highly unique trust framework. The system maps different types of state data against an 8-layer authority registry, which they call stratigraphic layers. For example, Stratum 01 handles highly sensitive inherent identity, so it uses lightweight proofs. Meanwhile, Stratum 02 for constitutional laws or Stratum 06 for physical assets like real estate demand full public transparency.
Which perfectly tees up our final section, balancing privacy and transparency.
Because different layers of government require completely different treatments, we face a massive tension. Full metadata anchoring versus lightweight cryptographic proofs. Full anchoring is perfect for something like a land deed, where you need maximum evidentiary richness that anyone can publicly verify. But lightweight proofs use zero-knowledge methods to ensure absolute privacy, which is literally legally mandated for things like biometrics under regulations like GDPR.
So for complex legal chains, like executive delegations or corporate law, this system uses a really clever hybrid method. Think of it like a locked safe with a glass window. It publicly anchors the structural metadata, proving definitively that an executive had the authority to act. But the deeply sensitive content, like actual board minutes or trade secrets, stays completely hidden inside an encrypted vault as a hash commitment. By using Merkle roots, stakeholders can verify the authority as 100% legitimate without ever seeing the confidential text hidden inside.
Ultimately, though, this whole ecosystem is about way more than just optimizing today's treasury operations. It's literally about protecting a nation's soul. Through the archivist-in-chief spoke, the system acts as a temporal lockbox for the state. It secures cultural heritage, local languages, and founding ethos maps, ensuring that original institutional intent is preserved and protected against revisionism across centuries.
Taking a step back, the sheer scale of the Fiducia Central concept is just staggering. By replacing fragmented, incredibly slow government bureaucracy with a unified, immutable ledger that perfectly balances absolute executive control with mathematical cryptographic truth, we really have to ask ourselves, is this modular, hub-and-spoke architecture the inevitable next step for sovereign states, or is it just a digital pipe dream? Let that sink in for a bit. Thanks so much for joining me on this explainer. I'll see you next time.